Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Apples and Junos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. My name is Nate Niblink. I'll be your host, and I've got my guy Hutch here with me. Josh, how are we doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to draft.
Yeah, today we're mock drafting with a bunch of members of the Discord, some people from Twitter. We got a motley crew in here today, but definitely some names that we're familiar with. A lot of people actually that we've been doing best ball drafts with throughout the summer and the rest of the offseason here. Before we get into it, we're at 6 minutes away from the start of this draft kicking off. So, got a few things to get through before we get into that. The first thing is last week I said we'd be doing a giveaway for some Apples and Geno's merchandise. And we got a bunch of responses. Very thankful for all those responses. Thank you to everybody who rated and reviewed the podcast. That was really, really great. But I do have a single winner for the giveaway, and that is Duchene,
Duchess.
Dutjas. Yeah, you've won. I'll reach out to you on Discord, which is where you sent me your review. But you're the winner, and you'll be receiving some sweet Apples and Geno's merchandise of your choosing. So we'll get that set up. Don't you worry about that. But thanks again to everybody who did participate and did rate and review the podcast. Now we've got 5 minutes left till game time here, but I want to talk about our cacuffle teams a little bit. So I put up a poll on Twitter the other day here, and we had some pretty convincing results. And unfortunately, I'm here with the guy who got the best of those poll results.
Oh yeah.
So between me, Josh, and Binksy, the three of us are all in cacuffle this year. Obviously, I'm in the highest tier because it's me. No, it's just I've been in it longer. This is the first year for Binksy and Hutch, but yeah. So I went with Yossi in the first round. That was obviously a big swing. I think it threw some people off my team right from the start, but Hutch here got Kucherov in the first, and I think that went well with the Twitter minions, and they gave
Yeah.
him the dub. It was 48.8% voted for Hutch's team here. I got 25.6, and so did Binksy. Actually, we split the rest of the
Oh, you
vote,
tied.
but a pretty convincing W there for you,
Tied for
Hutch. So
last.
this is your moment. This is your big W of the year. This is basically your championship, right? You've won now. Like you don't even need to play the season.
Yeah, you're probably right, honestly. Yeah. I mean, I feel pretty good about my team. I honestly didn't think there was really that big of a disparity in terms of the quality of our team. We all had very similar strategy. We all shored up defense early. And then took some swings late in the draft. I don't know. I didn't actually think that there was that much difference in terms of quality, but thanks everyone for voting for me. Feels good. Yeah, I don't know. I did the Tampa Bay stack. I feel like that was with Point and Kucherov. I feel like
Mhm.
that's a little risky with injury history, but I feel pretty good about them this year. And then yeah, I don't know. Got my boy Willie Nylander.
Mhm.
Got Adam Fox, Mo Sider, Miro Heiskanen pretty early just to make sure my D was set. I like
Yep.
in points leagues going for D early, which is what I'm probably going to be doing in this mock draft if it's reasonable. Like obviously if there's
Right.
someone that I think, unless there's like a forward that I feel like I need to jump on, um I like shoring them up early because there's so few really quality defensemen that score lots of points.
Yeah.
So I like kind of stocking up on those a little bit when I can. So which is different from um, when I would do like a bangers cats
Right.
league. I probably am not as aggressive in picking defense early. So I don't know
Yeah.
about you, Nate. I feel like it seems like you have the same mindset.
Yeah. No, I did. Before I talk about that though, so it's Jason. I'm just showing his comment here, but he's the one who won. Jace, actually, I guess, because it's Jason.
Dude,
Uh,
Chase.
so very welcome, Jason. Glad to have you as part of the community, and glad to be sending some merch your way here shortly. But yeah, going back to the D thing, yeah, you went, I guess, Heiskanen in the sixth,
Yeah,
so
bit of a reach,
three
I think.
3D in the first 6 rounds.
Yeah,
I think we all did fairly similar. I think, I got my third in the seventh, so I went Yossi in the first, and then I rattled off
right.
four straight forwards, and then went Doughty and Uyghur back to back in the sixth and seventh. And then I think Binksy,
I
if
think
I
Pixie
pull
went
his
three
up,
straight D, three,
yeah, so
four,
he went
five. Yeah.
rounds 2, 3, and 4. He went Fox, Letang,
Oh, two,
Werenski.
three,
So,
four. Yeah.
um, and then kind of similar actually. He faded all the way to the 14th with Vince Dunn there.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't. I only have 3D on my roster.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, because Anton Lindell was there in the 18th round, and I just couldn't believe it.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna take him. Like I have Landeskog, I have Brock Besser, and I have Trevor Ziegress, who may all start the
Oh, yeah, that
season
hurts.
on IR. So I think I'm gonna have some room to make some pickups. Suffice
Yeah.
it to say here.
Well, and
Um,
Lindell, like he was taking line rushes on the top line on the wing with
yeah,
Barkov and Verhage, I believe. So that's man, if he's getting minutes like that, that's great. I know I had that hot take where I felt like he was going to be in the top six and he was gonna move into the second line, but I didn't think he'd play first line wing. That would be awesome for him.
yeah, no, absolutely. Um, before, so we're just about ready. 8 seconds out from the start of this mock draft. I am gonna just run through the scoring real quick. So it's head-to-head points. Was the format that we chose for this, and we are using Cacuffle scoring just because I honestly can't be bothered to change my brain into other scorings. But as we go live here with the first pick, um, a goal is worth 4.5, an assist worth 3, shot on goal is worth 0.5, a block is worth 0.5, a hit is worth 0.25, so half that, and then a shorthanded point is worth 1. And then for goalies, you have wins and shutouts both worth 2 points. Save is worth 0.3, and a goal against worth minus 1.5. So the first two picks, nobody's surprised. McDavid, Matthews, Draisaitl goes right behind. I'm going to follow in with Nathan McKinnon. For myself, I kind of split us up here. I did a manual draft order on this one just so that we wouldn't be like back to back or anything and we could talk a little bit about our picks. But yeah, I kind of feel like the top four is the top four. I think that's pretty standard across most places. I know like the NHL Fantasy on Ice guys are taking Makar at like third overall or something. I'm not there with
Hey,
that.
someone
I,
did in the patron league last night. Took McCarr third
yeah,
overall.
I mean, I get the value over replacement argument. I'm not personally doing it. I have him at 5 in most formats behind McDavid, Matthews, Draisaitl, McKinnon.
I forget who said this, but after he got picked third overall, someone commented, "Is Vorp a category in this league?"
Fair question. Fair question. But yeah, we're rocking here. So right after my pick, we got Kucherov. Marner went 6th overall, which is the highest I've seen him. Maybe we're hoping for that sweet right wing / D
Slash
eligibility
D, yeah. Oh my
with
gosh,
Sheldon Keefe
that's so
coming
way
out. And
overblown right now.
yeah,
I think.
I find it hard to believe they're actually going to put that into practice, but it would be interesting to see, that's for sure.
Yeah,
After
definitely.
Marner, then Makar goes, then Rantanen, and then Ovechkin, and now it's on you at the 10 spot.
I am gonna go. This is tough. I'm mulling over a few here. I've got Pasternak, Timo Meyer, Roman Yossi. I think I'm gonna go. I'm really high on Pasternak this year, and he's a right winger, so I'm gonna go Pasternak.
Nice. Yeah, I guess I should run over the roster settings that we're going to use. I made this super basic: 2 center, 2 left wing, 2 right wing, 4D, 2 goalies, and then 4 bench. So a 16 round draft. I didn't want to have it drag out too long. I don't think many people are super excited about 20th round picks, so I kept it fairly basic here. So we have Kaprizov go off after your pick at the 11 spot, and now we're to the turn.
Kaprizov
Uh,
at 11 is pretty good value. Wow,
yeah, pretty solid.
that's he fell further than I've seen actually.
Yeah, yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think what he showed us last year is probably what we should expect. On the turn here, we have Nimmer, and he's gone Kyle Connor
Oh
and
yeah,
Roman Yossi.
good call on Yossi.
Yeah, I like the OC pick. I'm not a huge fan of Connor. I think I've talked about it in more than a few places at this point, but I do think that Winnipeg is not going to use their forwards in the same extreme way that Paul Maurice did. And so I've been kind of knocking Scheifele and Connor are the ones that get knocked the most because they were seeing the most minutes before. But yeah, I just don't think we're gonna get that extreme like 22 plus minute per night usage for these guys in Winnipeg anymore. And that really, like, you're talking about a 2 or 3 minute per night drop off, and it's just impossible to sustain the same level of production if you're not physically on the ice. So we're back to the 2-3 with you here, and Hedman went off after Yossi, and you're going with?
I went with Timo Meier. Another guy I'm
Uh-huh.
really high on this year. I
Mhm.
was mulling over him or Matthew Tkachuk, and I decided to go with Meier. He just gets those peripherals, the shots, and I mean he's probably going to be near point per game again. So I think
Mhm.
all of that included, I'm very high on him, and I don't think he would fall to me in the next round. So
Yeah.
Matt or Brady Tkachuk, he's very similar in terms of production to Timo Meier. He went right after to McJesus here. We lost Dingle Dude. I don't know if he ever showed up here.
Yeah, it seems like he's picking fairly consistently, so I don't know if
Yeah,
it's just a glitch in
maybe it's
Fantrax
a
that's showing
Fantrax
he's
glitch.
not here.
It is pretty glitchy.
Yeah, Fantrax has been pretty glitchy. We'll cross our fingers that that's the worst of it, but yeah, we've been rolling. So after your pick of Meyer, like you said, we had Tkachuk, Huberdeau, Matthew Tkachuk, and then Stamkos goes. I
JT Miller.
cannot believe that Alexander Barkov came all the way back to me here.
Yeah.
It's kind of a pain to take McKinnon and Barkov with your first two picks, but I honestly can't pass this up. He's by far my highest rated for the format at this point.
Yep. Same.
So yeah, it's gonna be Barkov for me. Stamkos and JT Miller went right in front. All right, so biggest reach of the second round. Anything jumping out at you? Anybody
Oh
you wouldn't have
man,
picked there?
not huge reaches. I would say. I mean, mine's probably the biggest reach based on ADP, but um, no, I feel like it's pretty okay. Um, JT Miller came after Stamkos. You got Barkov, Patrick Kane right after you. I feel like that's pretty reasonable spot for Kane. Adam Fox, round 2, pick 11, also pretty reasonable for him, I think. So I don't know. No big surprises here so far.
Yeah, I'm finding myself a little bit further down on Fox than most people. Um, like for me, he would be. I'm just checking my projections. If I go strictly by my projections for this format, he would be my D10. So he's
Interesting.
definitely not as highly ranked for me as he is for a lot of people. But yeah, I mean, it feels like the point floor is really safe there. But
Hmm.
unless you're really expecting him, like I have him projected for 72 points, and he's still my D10. He doesn't shoot a ton. He's more efficient than he is like a volume guy, and
Yeah.
shots are really important in this format in particular. And then the blocks are there, but the hits are not. So just one of those things with Fox. I think he probably fits like a points only for sure. He fits in this range, but I'm not sure for me personally that he would fit um, in this spot for this format specifically.
Kenny with Mo Sider at round 3, pick 2. And then
Hmm.
Sidney Crosby comes off the board, round 3, pick 3. And Nate is back up.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for me to be honest. Like the guys that I have highest rated here are not like the ADP guys. So I would have
Yeah.
Jack Eichel. I'm not taking a third center in the third round. So I'm not doing that. I kind of honestly, I kind of want to just slap like Vasilevsky or Shesterkin here and just make everybody really worried.
Start a
But
goalie run.
I think I'm gonna just grab a D here, and I'm gonna go with John Carlson.
Oh, sniping Carlson from me here. I thought he was going to fall. He's typically a guy that I value higher than a lot of others. Um, another safe 70-point defenseman.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be clear, like when I say that Fox is my D10 and Carlson is actually my D4 in this format. By projections again, if I'm exclusively going by projections, like I'm not talking about an extreme difference in projected points. I have them projected for, let's see here. I have Carlson for 431 points at the end of the season and Fox for 392.
Oh
So
wow.
I guess it's a 40-point difference, so half a point per game over 82 games. So it's significant enough, but I don't think it's like extreme. So after my pick of Carlson, we got Eichel, we got Aho, we got Panarin, and we finally get Vasilevsky, the first goalie, off the board at 3-8. McJesus takes Aaron Ekblad, and it's over to you.
Oh man, so this is a tough one here. I'm in a similar spot where the guys that are at the top of my list are not ADP guys, so I think I'm gonna take a D here. I'm gonna go Chris Letang.
It's a nice pick. Yeah,
Not a guy that
Letang.
I don't have him in any drafts, any like actual drafts this year.
Yeah, I think this is the first year that he's kind of been appropriately valued for a while. Like for the past 2 years, he's been a huge value because everybody just kind of assumes that he's injury prone, and they haven't really
Right.
checked to see that he's actually been playing almost every game for the past 3 years. So we got a question here. What are the scoring settings? So we went over that a little bit earlier, but I'll hit it again here for a second. I closed the tab. I gotta look it back up. So goals are 4.5. Assists are 3. I'm doing this off the top of my head right now until I get it up. Goals are 4.5. Assists are 3.
Oh, sorry.
Hits are 0.25. Blocks are 0.5. Shots on goal 0.5. Shorthanded points are 1. And then for the goalies, wins are 2, shutouts are 2, saves 0.3, and goals against minus 1.5. I could probably show that on the screen as well for the people following along. Looks like we could be working on a D run here. So we had Ekblad right before you, then you went Letang, and then Dougie Hamilton right after you. We'll see what Nimmer does here on the turn.
You go
There's
Werenski? Oh, wow.
There's Werenski. So now we're fully into the D run, which was kind of my concern too, right? And a little bit of what went into my thought process of grabbing Carlson at 3-4 is just to grab one of the kind of elite level defensemen and just kind of lock that in with the idea that there definitely could be this D run here. So Nimmer gets Werenski, and then he takes Shesterkin, the latest I've ever seen him, at 4-1. Followed up right away by UC Saros. So maybe we'll get into a goalie run here in the fourth.
I am going to shut this goalie run down right now and pick Philip Forsberg. Love me some Philip Forsberg this year.
Yeah, so after Eichel, Forsberg would have been my highest ranked forward at my spot at 3-4. So I like that value a lot. Yeah, so we're coming back around. Your pick was the 4-3 there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's still defensemen in this tier for me, but it's rapidly fading out. So I am pretty happy overall. There's Thatcher Demko 4-4, so we might get that goalie run yet, even with your best efforts against it. But we'll see. We'll see how it comes. Brent Burns 4-5, so people feeling the D rush a little bit as well. I'll see if my guy makes it back to me here. Somebody I've been probably overdrafting, to be honest, but we'll see if he comes back to me here. I can't give it away because everybody, I think literally
people are
everyone,
definitely listening.
We have 14 people watching the live stream, and I think 11 of them might be in this draft room.
We really emphasized taking D early in the show before the draft started, and it's
backfired spectacularly on us.
More so than any draft that I've been in so far.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I've just got to make sure that I keep my queue up here in case my guy goes off because, that's the problem with running these drafts. Okay, my guy's still here. So I'm going Kevin Fiala here. Guy I've been very high on. Has the left wing, right wing, which is really handy just for that flexibility. But yeah, I think Fiala, honestly, you can't say that his new situation is worse than what he was dealing with in Minnesota for most of the season. Obviously had some great chemistry with Boldy at the end, but I think I think Fiala's best line mate he's ever had is going to be Anze Kopitar, so I can't wait to see what those two will do. Could be a slow start once again for Fiala. I don't really buy into the whole like some players are just slow starters. I think that's probably just, there are 300 plus players that we're watching for fantasy every year, and some like by the law of large numbers, one of those players is going to start slow every year for like 3 years and just gain a reputation for it. So I don't think Fiala is like always going to be a slow starter every single year, but he
No,
could be this year just because of the move to LA and
new
taking some time to get
situation.
acclimated. So after
I,
him,
I
yeah,
feel like
maybe
his deployment is as good as it's going to be though,
for
which
sure.
is
Yeah.
nice. Probably the best he's ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, like he could be very very conceivably over 20 minutes a night.
Yep.
So I'll run back through the last little bit of the draft just for anybody who can't see it on small on the screen or is listening along. But so yeah, we had to recap the whole fourth round. We'll just run through it real quick. Shesterkin, Saros, and Demko were the goalies taken. You took Forsberg at 4-3. Hughes went off 4-6. Goudreau 4-7. I took Fiala 4-9. Zibanejad 4-10. DeBrincat 4-11. And then we had 3D taken as well. Burns 4-5, Riley 4-8, and Quinn Hughes 4-12. And we're into the fifth here. Svechnikov 5-1 and Line A 5-2. And I got to make sure I know who I'm taking here because I'm just about to be on the clock. And yeah, I got my guy. Cross my fingers and pray he's not taken from me.
From the evil empire, that would just be too
Oh
appropriate.
yeah, the evil empire right in front of me. That would be a little bit too appropriate. But
Darlene's not your guy, hey? I don't think.
Dahlin is not my guy here.
No.
I'm going with Tarasenko. Love the
Oh
right
yeah,
wing.
he was at the
Love,
top of my list too.
yeah, the shots. The like he hits a bit. He's gonna score goals. And honestly, I have a 17-minute a night projection on him. So like anything he gets beyond that, upwards and beyond that, would just be gravy on top. So I'm pretty bullish on taking Tarasenko in this spot here.
Oh, someone took Ehlers too. Oh boy,
What are you gonna do, man?
I don't
You gotta
know. All
adjust
my
the cue on the fly here.
yeah, I definitely do. I'm thinking. Well, I don't even know if I want to say. I
Yeah, you can't say. That's the problem.
I'm just gonna think a little bit. For,
Just think to yourself quietly. This is great
this is
podcasting, by
good
the way.
podcast. It translates really well.
Yeah, so after my Tarasenko pick, we got Ehlers, then Willie Nylander goes, then Darnell Nurse goes, and we'll see what we get here. 2 picks more to go before you, so queue up what you can.
Yeah, I'm doing the best I can. Yeah, there's a number of ways I could go with this right now. I feel like there's quite a few nice names in this range.
So we get Pedersen off. Elias Pedersen goes 5-8, so one more pick till you. I don't think Pedersen was your guy, was he?
Pedersen was not my guy. Not super high on Pedersen. Lindholm goes off the board. Perfect. I'm going to take another D here. I'm going with Thomas Chabot. Little bit of a reach, but I like the power play time. He gets blocks, which they're worth 0.5, which is nice. I just think that his situation offensively is the best as it's ever been in his career. So I feel good about him, and he plays mad minutes, and he will still because their defense stinks.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's been kind of something we've talked about too with Ottawa. Like everybody's over the moon about Ottawa now. Like obviously
Yeah,
the top six looks very solid. They still don't have elite talent, I would say. I guess you could still build in some hope that some of their young guys develop to that point, but
yeah,
definitely no one with a pedigree that you would suggest is going to be an absolute, 100+ point per year player. So I think that Ottawa will definitely score goals. I mean, they scored goals last year, to be honest, mostly
yeah.
coming from that top line, but still on defense. Like if you look through that defense and compare it around the league, I think if you're treating it honestly in any respect, you'd honestly have to say I think it's a bottom third of the league unit. So
Absolutely.
we'll see what that means for Cam Talbot and Anton Forsberg. I did take Forsberg in Cupful. Kind of a brand pick at this point. I didn't really expect that to be one of the things that we do this year. But yeah, I think Forsberg, what he did last year, definitely bought him some trust with the coaching staff. You have to believe that. Same coaching staff. They brought in Talbot, but they didn't give anything up to get Talbot, so I don't really think that he's necessarily a lock to be even like a 1B. Like, I think if Forsberg was really hot again to start the year, they might end up just riding him.
Yeah.
I think that's well within
He
the
looked a
range
little
of
rough
outcomes.
last night in
Yeah,
Belleville.
that's true.
Nick Robertson just absolutely wrecked him.
Yeah. Yeah. And us as Leaf fans, we're hoping that Nick Robertson kind of finally pulls it all together this year and can contribute. That'd be really big for the Leafs.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Him and Malgin battling it out for that left wing spot on line 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm back up again. I am going with I'm gonna go with Braden Point here as my first center. I've picked him in a few different leagues, and I'm really feeling good about Point, especially in this range.
Yeah. Yeah. Brain Point, I think last year was going off in like the third round or high third
Mm-hmm.
round, even in a lot of places. And I just couldn't get behind that. But this year he had kind of a down year. And now I think Point is actually undervalued. So he's kind of
Totally.
fully flip flopped year to year. So I do like that pick. Uh, just to go back, after your Shabbat pick, we had Noah Dobson go off. Then on the turn, we had Heinz and Marchand. So you finally get the Marchand pick. And right
Mm-hmm.
behind Marchand, you get the Jason Robertson pick, which is also obviously a bit of a concern pick with the holdout that's been going on there. So
Yeah.
definitely, if Robertson ends his holdout anytime soon, then that's looking like a huge value. But definitely some risk you're taking on taking him there. After Point, from you, we get Devon Taves and Miro Heiskanen. I'm holding out hope for one of my two guys left in the defense tier to make it back to me. I probably shouldn't have said that because now everybody's just going to hammer defense.
Yeah,
There goes one.
That's your guy, Drew
Yeah.
Doughty.
Yeah, so after Heiskanen, we had Markstrom and then Drew Doughty as soon as I opened my fat, stupid mouth. One more pick before me. I still got one more guy that I like here. He is below ADP. I wonder if I can push it. Probably not, to be honest with these guys. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take my guy. I am going to take Mackenzie Weegar.
Yeah,
He
you're high
hasn't
on
been.
Uyghur.
I'm pretty high on Uyghur. I do think that, yeah, just what they showed with the power play one, that Rasmus Anderson wasn't able to hold on to that role all year. He got most of it, but not all of it. They tried Hannafin several times throughout the year, and especially later in the year. So Anderson looks to be starting there again this year, but if there's any miscontent with Anderson, then I think could potentially get a shot. And even if he doesn't, you have such a safe floor with the shots and the hits and the blocks with Uyghur and the 5v5 play. I think his absolute floor is like 45 points with a ton of peripherals. So I think he's at worst probably like a high-end D3 on your team. And at best, if he gets that top power play and actually plays really well, then he could be an absolute smash and end up scoring like as a top 5 even defenseman in this format. So pretty happy with Uyghur there. After Uyghur goes Theodore and Scheifele in between Theodore and Pietrangelo, actually, which is kind of an interesting duo there. What's your take on Theodore and Pietrangelo so far, Josh?
It's tough. I think I'm probably higher even in this format with on Pietrangelo. He's getting power play one time. He's getting the power play one reps so far in camp, and he's one of the league leaders in blocks. And blocks is a pretty they're worth 0.5 in this league. So
Yep.
and he plays a ton of minutes. Theodore doesn't bring the peripherals. He scores a little better 5-on-5. He is a better offensive defenseman, but I just think Pietrangelo, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably pretty appropriate for them to be picked close to each other here. You're back up again.
I'm back up. I'm debating my guys here. I probably should go back into the wingers at this point. But I also am staring down one more defenseman, and it could be a home run swing at this point. And I honestly think I can't pass it up, so I am going to go with Charlie McAvoy here.
Ooh.
I know he's a bit away from returning to the Bruins, but I think I can skate by. You have to be confident in yourself to be able to skate by with one of these guys, I think. You can grab one of the Marchand or McAvoy or anybody else who's injured or hold out and just assume that you can skate by, be confident in your own ability to get by until they get into your lineup. And then once they get into your lineup, you should be crushing things. So I really like McAvoy at 7-4 when honestly, if he was fully healthy to start the year, McAvoy would have been taken a lot earlier by me, probably in the 5th round. About would be where he would go. So getting 2 rounds of value there, I guess, for the injury. That's about when I'm ready to pull the trigger on somebody like McAvoy. After McAvoy, we go Sorokin, Hellebuck, Stützle, Kreider, and Bouchard, and you're back on the clock.
I'm back on the clock, and I'm blown away that John Tavares is still here. And looking at his ADP, it's down to 100.5. Is that just because he's been injured? Like, I don't think he's going to miss that much time.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
The original timeline I heard was 3 or 4 weeks, and that was last week, right? So, I definitely
like his. I swear his ADP a couple weeks ago was like in the 60s.
Yeah,
and now it's down to 100.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, I like that pick a lot for you there. Obviously, I wasn't really in the market for a third center yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
And my first 2 with McKinnon and Barkov were center only, so it's pretty tough to double up that way. We'll see what we get here on the turn. Let's take a look at our builds, I guess, a little bit so far. So I've got McKinnon and Barkov, like I said. I've got only 2 wingers, Fiala and Tarasenko, and then 3D with Carlson, Weegar, and McAvoy. And what are you rocking over there, Josh?
I got Point and Tavares at center. Left wings, I've got Timo Meier and Forsberg. Meier's dual eligible with both wings. Pasternak at right wing. And 2D, I've got Letang and Shabbat.
Nice. All right, we're coming around. We get Pavelski and Bergeron going off after your Tavares pick, and then Jesper Bratt. We'll see what Clark does here, and then it will be back to you.
Yeah.
Do you want to reveal anything, or are you worried about getting sniped?
I guess I have one. I'm not sure if he's waiting for me to say who I want or what, but I'm feeling. Oh man, again, we're kind of at an awkward spot where some of these guys. Oh, we went with Matt Duchene. That's a guy I'm pretty high on. I would have considered taking him at this point. I've found him kind of creeping higher and higher in my drafts. I'm just more and more interested in taking him. I feel like he's another guy that's been disrespected, just because his numbers last year were pretty unsustainable, definitely. But I just feel like everyone harped on it so hard that he's almost underrated at this point. I'm gonna go right wing and go Mark Stone.
All right. Mark Stone in the 8th. Again, kind of one of these guys similar to Point, I think, where last year you would have had to pay like a 3rd round pick for him, and this year you can find him in the 8th. So definitely don't hate that there. I think he was coming up on value for me. I got a couple more guys in front of him, but definitely don't hate that pick there in the 8th. Looking through these teams here, I mean, it's an Apples and Ginos mock draft, so you expect there to be some 0G happening. Obviously, you and I, no goalies yet. We do have 3 other teams. Actually, it's kind of interesting. All the teams beside me here on my end of the turn, the 1, 2, and 3 spots, no goalies selected yet. Everybody towards your side, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 11 and 12 all have one goalie at this point.
Interesting.
So yeah, 4 of us holding out, or 5 of us, sorry, holding out on the 0G. We'll see how long that lasts and who blinks first here. Taking a look at the goalies here. Yeah, there's some names here still for sure. Ottinger, Anderson, definitely some names that people have been drafting very highly across leagues that I've seen. I got to make sure that I got somebody lined up here because I'm pretty sure. Oh, a second goalie for, I don't,
Jake Ottinger.
yeah, Hellebuck in the 7th, and then comes back with Ottinger in the 8th.
Back to
That's
back.
Zberdan.
Zeberdan.
Zeberdan? Is that what we're
I
going
don't know.
with?
I have no idea.
Zeberdan, you gotta tell us how to say your name. Your screen name, that is. I'm assuming that's not your real name, but maybe it is. I have
Maybe, you
no
never
idea
know.
how you'd say that if that's your real name.
People have weird names nowadays.
This is true. All right, so I end up with all of my options here, which actually, this is kind of the first time where I kind of wish that people had taken my guys so I could decide a little bit easier. I think I'm going to end up taking Tage Thompson. He is center right wing eligible, so I can fit him over on right wing. And I saw another highlight of him just absolutely sniping the other
Oh my
night.
god, yeah. Earlier today, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Was
That
that
was
today?
disgusting.
Yeah.
I think today or yesterday. I can't remember.
Yeah, it might have been today. Life is a blur with a 2-month-old, but
Yeah.
I'm fully back in on Thompson. He took a massive step last year and completely looked the part. So I'm happy to get Thompson in the 8th round here. Klingberg went in between Ottinger and my Thompson pick there.
Man,
So we'll
he is
see
getting
now.
scarce right now.
D is definitely getting scarce. I'm happy to have 3, even though McAvoy obviously won't be there to start the season. Marchessault, actually, the other guy I was considering at that spot. He goes right after Drake Batherson at the 8-11. Obviously, if he plays the full season, he'll be a value at that slot. Still, yeah, I honestly don't know what kind of take. Like, people have asked me what my take is on the Batherson situation, like where to draft him. I think it's fine to draft him here. I also think it's fine to, if you just don't want to have the headache or be associated with a person who it may come out was guilty of some pretty terrible things, then that's totally fine too. Fantasy is supposed to be fun and you play it the way you want to play it. So that's basically been my take on Batherson. Obviously, if he does play and plays at the level he played last year, he'd be a tremendous value at the end of the 8th here. Trocheck goes at the 8-12, and we're waiting for the second pick off the turn. I wonder if we'll get a goalie here now with these 3 guys coming back.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared there's going to be a run here. Oh, Jordan Kyrou.
Jordan Kyrou. So sticking with 0G, going into the 10th for Newcomb here out of the 1 spot. We'll see if Kenny does the same thing at 9-2. See if he stays true to 0G, or if he's gonna cave to the pressure of Frederick Anderson or one of these other guys who he might like.
Cole Caulfield.
Cole Caulfield.
He was up pretty high on
nice.
my list here. I don't really need a winger at this point, though.
Yeah, I do need wingers. I'm rocking 3 wingers: Fiala, Tarasenko, and Tage Thompson. I've kind of backed myself into a spot here now where I kind of need left wing more than right wing, which is a little weird, but I kind of also would just prefer to have a left wing, right wing guy. Looking at my list here, there's not a lot of these guys who I'd really want anymore. I guess my highest ranked now is Kempe, and I could stack him here with Fiala. It would probably be the most I'd want to do a stack in LA is 2 guys, but I think I'm going to go ahead with that here. Kempe just fits this format pretty well. Goal scorer, shooter, similar to Fiala, really, in those respects. So I think Kempe is a fine pick in the 9th. I don't think there's a tremendous amount of upside with Kempe to like really take a huge step and be like a point per game guy or anything like that. But I think unless like Arthur Kaliev or somebody like that totally unseats him, then he should be pretty well a fixture on that top line with Kopitar and Fiala all year long. So feel pretty confident that he's going to be at least solid value, if not terrific value, at 9-4. After that, we go Malkin at 9-5, which feels pretty good if you need a center. And then Justin Falk, 9-6. Obviously, St. Louis, Falk has been underrated for some time. St. Louis runs a pretty split power play overall, and Falk runs one of those units and has tons of banger cats that he fills up. So in a format like this, those aren't like super highly weighted, but blocks are fairly highly weighted, so he will be plenty valuable there. And then we get Frederick Anderson finally going off at 9-7. That's probably one of the
That's a
latest.
nice spot for
Yeah,
Freddie Anderson.
that's probably one of the latest spots you'll see a Frederick Anderson go off, and definitely good value. Um, if I wasn't playing zero G chicken with all the other guys on my end of the turn here, I probably would have considered Anderson at 9-4 there, to be honest with you. Then we get Teravainen and Rob Thomas, and we're back up to you.
All right, I gotta take a D here, so I'm gonna go. This is a slight reach, but as terms of power play quarterbacks, he's one of the only ones left. So I'm gonna go Erik Karlsson.
All right. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I've had Carlson a lot higher rated than most people that I've seen around the
Yep,
fantasy hockey
same.
sphere for some time. So we got Kenneth here saying, I continue to see Batherson fall in a lot of mocks, find myself drafting him a ton. Yeah, like I said, if he remotely approaches what he did last year, then I think at the 8-11 where you got him there, Kenneth, I think that's pretty good. Right after Carlson goes Chikrin. That's a spicy pick for me a little bit. He's
Yeah,
dealing with an injury, and it's one of these situations too where he's like very publicly doesn't want to be in Arizona. So I hate to say this about any player, but you wonder if his motivation to get back on the ice will be truly there if he's just hoping for a trade, right? So Chikrin gives me a lot of pause. I wonder what his true ceiling is while in Arizona. Obviously, if he gets out of Arizona and he has a good integration with a new team, then you could be looking at a star. But I think you're kind of, I don't know, you're making a big bet there, both that he'll be traded and that it'll be a really great fit almost immediately, because obviously he's not being traded right now. So you would think if there was a trade out there, it probably would have happened by this point. So I have some concerns with Chikrin. I mean, getting to the end of the 9th round, it's hard to hate on any pick really too hard at this point. But I just personally haven't found myself with Chikrin. Like you having Carlson right there, I'm taking Carlson in a league like this 10 times out of 10 over
100%, 100%. Then we got Tyler Toffoli and Tristan Jarry at the turn. So Jack Campbell goes. Oh boy, I feel like at this point, my only space that's not my bench. I have 1 D left and 2 goalies, and I'm not really stoked about the D that are on the board right now at 111. So I think I'm gonna have to go Sergei Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky.
2. All right, the 10th round, the fabled 0G round. Do you adhere to the 10th round 0G cutoff, or are you...
I mean, I have drafted in the 10th round goalies this year, but I'm not. No, I don't think that there's a firm cutoff. I think in this format with these roster spots, it kind of makes sense to me, just because. But I mean, in the cupful, we have 2 extra skater spots. There's a league that, well, the five hole fantasy hockey listener league I'm in, also has those 2 skater spots. So in that situation, I'm probably still drafting forwards. So I actually, I think in the 5 hole league, I didn't pick a goalie until round 12. So that's, I mean, yeah, it's all about what's out there too.
Sure.
There's still some quality goalies here right now. Bobrovsky's been probably the highest caliber goalie that I've been drafting this year. So I just felt good about taking him there.
Yeah, anybody who's been into my tiered ranks would see that I have Bobrovsky actually tiered down from a couple guys who are still out there, which would be Kemper and Fleury. But I can see the argument. I just think that this could be the year. I'm not saying it is, but there's a better chance this year than before that this could be the year that Spencer Knight starts to work in a little more time.
Especially with that contract.
Yeah. Now
it was a weird contract.
It was a weird contract. As we say that, I get back on the clock here. I'm just gonna cast a quick guy over at D to make sure I'm not missing anybody who I'm super high on. Nope. There's nothing over
There's
at D.
nothing there, man.
I'm gonna go with Zach Hyman here. I'm pretty interested in Hyman. It seems like they've been favoring him for the top power play over Evander Kane a fair bit. I honestly haven't seen any power play lines for Edmonton. I might go check that for a second right now. But I think there's a good chance that he ends up getting a good chunk of that power play time. Obviously, he's going to play in the top six. So whether he's playing with McDavid or Draisaitl, I don't think either of those are a bad spot to be. So I'm pretty happy with Hyman at 10-9 right after we get Seguin, and then Marc-Andre Fleury goes to Kenneth, breaking the 0G streak at 10-11.
So there's what, three guys now without a goalie?
I believe so. Yeah.
And
so
Josh Morrissey goes off the board in round 10. Man, the D is scarce right now. This is crazy.
Did we do this, or is this just
we definitely
smart
did
people?
Well, I don't know. It could just be smart people, honestly.
Yeah.
Claude Giroux, Pierre-Luc Dubois. So Newcomb is sticking with 0G till at least round 12. And Elvis Merzlikins goes off the board to Evil Empire. So it's just you and Newcomb left that haven't picked a goalie.
I'm tempted to do it here. There are other guys that are also very tempting to me at the forward position, and anybody who knows me knows I love to build out those top forward spots. And I think this is really tough. Just considering the board and what I think might come back to me, I think I'm gonna have to go with my guy Trevor Ziegress. I know he's injured. That's the reason he makes it to the 11th round here. But I have Ziegress projected for almost a point per game this year, and honestly, I don't think that's outlandish. He's gonna get more ice time with Getzlaf out of the way, top the lineup. And honestly, he didn't even play like a ridiculous amount of power play time last year. I know people are going to be surprised by that, but really, if you look into it, Hook and Scramble said I sniped him there on Ziegress, so that feels good. Thanks for saying that. That makes me feel better about the pick for sure. Also in the chat, we have T6 represent. Is that aimed at you, Hutch? Are you tier 6?
Oh yeah. Yes. In
Couple?
No, 5-hole fantasy hockey.
Oh, I see.
What's your team name, Zach?
Yeah, let's get Zach's team
Throw that
name.
throw that in the chat.
And then we can pull it up and roast it live. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, I guess so.
So Hook and Scramble goes Bertuzzi after I snipe him on Ziegress.
Oh shoot.
And then Kopitar, and then Petrie. Petrie is actually my next highest rated defenseman. I think he's in a good spot actually in Pittsburgh. He's never really been the guy. Obviously last year he was supposed to be the guy in Montreal, and that didn't work out. But when he hasn't been the guy, he's been very good for fantasy. So I'm pretty okay with Petrie in the 11th. Sergachev goes right after him. Actually kind of similar players in my mind, Petrie and Sergachev. And then Alexander Georgiev at 11-9, which I think is a really nice spot to take Georgiev. You get all that upside of if he is good and the Colorado starter, like that's a smash play. He could easily outperform. He could be a top 5 goalie in the league in this format for sure. So now we're on you, Josh. What are you going to do?
This is tough. I think I'm going to go Matt Boldy here. I think it's a pretty good spot for him. He's dual eligible. I had some other guys higher, but I like the flexibility of Boldy. And it looks like he's going to get PP1 this year. So that's really nice.
For sure. So we got Boldy there, and then we'll come around the turn here. We got going back to the chat. We got Zach said his team's name is Bruce Lee Shaped Dent.
Oh yeah. Were you first overall? Yeah, I think you had the first pick. Maybe I could be wrong, but yeah, that sounds familiar. Here, I'm gonna pull you up here.
And then we got Kenneth said his is kale salad in that tier league.
Oh yeah, yeah. Kenny's in that league too. Yeah,
that's
I think.
Awesome.
And then I think the Mark Skinner is also there too.
Oh, that's crazy. Everybody's in there.
Yeah,
we got Shane.
All the boys.
Shane Thompson says Boldy's going to be great. So a little bit of a plug for your pick there, Hutch, as well.
Awesome.
And Zach says yes. So it sounds like he was the first overall in that league.
If I remember correctly, I think he took Vasilevsky and Shesterkin at the turn at one point.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That's not a 0G disciple
not
at
0G
all.
at all. Oh shit, I think I'm back up again.
Yep.
Okay, so Suzuki and Kadri went. I really like Suzuki. I'm kind of bummed about that. Alex Tuck is still here. Thomas Hertl, Clayton Keller. Oh my god, this is not a good spot right now. I'm gonna go Alex Tuck, right wing. Don't really feel great about that pick, to be honest.
All right. So let's see what my odds are here. I'm going to go ahead and say it live, even with all these people waiting to snipe me. But I am looking at taking a goalie. Finally, at this point, I'll get in front of
not Jordan Binnington though.
Not Jordan Binnington. Dingle dude takes Binnington right after McJesus takes Hertl.
Watch this just so like a string of goalies now.
Yeah, this will be 3 straight goalies right before my pick. I have no doubts. But all these guys do have 2 goalies, so it would be kind of a reach. If they take a goalie, I think we know that they're messing with me.
That they're just trolling you.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I could respect it.
That's
it's something
totally
I
fine.
would do, to be honest. So we'll see what comes off here. I do have other options, obviously. There's lots of guys that I do like at other positions, but if I do get one of these 2 goalies that I'm looking at, I think I'll finally pull the trigger here in the 12th. Bowen Byram, I like that pick in the 12th round. I've been talking up Byram a fair bit, and I've heard a lot of smart people talking him up as well. If you look at his advanced stats, they're just off the charts in terms of the rates. So hopefully, there goes Matt Murray,
Matt Murray, oh boy,
was going to be my pick there. Honestly, I might just push it.
At this point, it's probably I would just push it as well.
I did have another guy I was gonna take, but now that it's on me, I'm feeling like I don't wanna. I want to force Newcomb to take a goalie before me. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's just a pride thing at this point.
Neither
just gonna go down
goalies at all.
Yeah, no goalies.
No goalies.
Gonna go down swinging to the last
True
round.
0G.
True 0G. I'm gonna go ahead and match up Jeff Skinner with Tage Thompson.
That's so on brand.
Yeah. Yeah, I've said it enough, but Jeff Skinner was just totally disrespected by people who didn't realize that it was basically just the coaching problem that kept him down with Ralph Kruger in Buffalo. And then, wouldn't you know, as soon as someone comes back who actually realizes that Jeff Skinner can score goals, he starts scoring goals again. So I think I've said my piece on Skinner, but I feel like he's almost a guaranteed 30-goal scorer year in and year out, and he's going to shoot a lot, which is great for this format. So pretty happy with him there. Gostisbehere goes after, and then Nichushkin, both good picks in the 12th round for me. We'll see if Newcomb finally caves and takes a goalie, or if we're going to play 0G chicken for another round.
He's thinking about it. He's thinking.
We got another comment from Shane. Whatever good vibes Georgiev gives, Murray should be same, right? Definitely.
He says you win. Anton Forsberg.
He takes Forsberg and says I win. I love it.
Sorry, you keep going.
Yeah, no, Shane Thompson. We had another comment on YouTube here. Whatever good vibes Georgiev gives, Murray should be the same. Absolutely, I believe that. Georgiev and Murray are 2 people I view pretty similarly. Both should get every chance to be the starter. Whether they seize that is up to them. But the upside is so high that, like, if you're getting them in the 11th and 12th round, I think that's a smash for sure. Shane also says Tuck in Buffalo 2 undervalued, he thinks. Definitely as a right wing, hardest position to fill, as we've all been saying. Definitely don't hate that. Gibson was the other guy I was actually considering at the last pick, and now he goes off, so now I think I'm just going to go over to D and see what's left here. It is ugly. It's over bad, at buddy. D. I kind of feel like I need to fill this position. I also don't have even Mcavoy is not really going to score me any points. So I do feel like I should probably grab one of these guys to fill in. I think. Oh, this is gross. This is really gross.
Don't pick my guy.
Don't pick your guy.
No.
I'm gonna draft Tyson Barrie here.
That's not a bad pick, actually.
In the
That
13th
wasn't my
round,
guy.
I expect him to start on the top power play unit, play a bunch of power play time. I think last year was his floor. And he's still, honestly, like, if you look at his end of season stats, they weren't that bad. It's just these guys who don't provide the peripherals when they're not scoring, when they go through these cold streaks. You're like, what am I doing with this player on my team? So I'll try out Barrie in the 13th round. Like, any player from here on out, like, you're never going to be too married to them. So if he gets cold or Bouchard bumps him off the top power play, then I just kick him to the curb. I wouldn't be too worried about that. Hook and Scramble said he had to pivot off Barrie. So it sounds like I've sniped him a couple times here, which makes me feel good. He goes with Zuccarello. Then we get Keller and Wheeler behind that. Dingle Dude and McJesus, and it'll be coming back to you. Are you thinking about it?
Nice little right wing run here.
Yeah. Perron
pretty quality guys for this point of the draft. Okay, so my guy is still here. I'm gonna take a swing right now for my last D spot. I'm going with Owen Power. I think he's going to be played a lot. Anyone that I've heard talk about him that has seen him play just has nothing but great things to say about him. He really, to me, feels like potentially a future Victor Hedman, just with that big body and the skating and the skill. I just think he's going to be awesome. May not get the opportunity this year on the power play just because Darlene, I think, is going to quarterback PP1, but I think he's going to get a lot of ice time, just because similar to Ottawa, and Ottawa has another guy in a similar position as Owen Power, Jake Sanderson. I think they're both going to get played a lot this year and could be Calder Trophy candidates just because both teams' defense is not good. So they're going to be leaned on a lot.
For sure. All right, after your pick, we get Cam Talbot. So Clark betting on the other side of the Ottawa tandem there. Then we get Boone Jenner for Nimmer as the first pick of the turn. We'll see where he goes with the second one. I am filling my queue with goalies at this point, obviously into the 14th round. I did something similar, honestly, in my Cacuffle draft, so it's not like this is new territory for me. I took my first goalie Vitek Vanacek at the 14-12, 194th overall in Cacuffle. So if anyone's wondering if I actually do fade goalies in my leagues that I actually want to win, I definitely do. Oh, Clark said he didn't actually want Talbot, but it wouldn't let him draft the guy he wanted. That's too bad.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Who did you want?
Nice.
Let us know.
Yeah, nice little Fantrax glitch for us there in the 13th
round. So we got Clark trying to pick again. Maybe it's glitching on him again.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's not good. That's no fun, bud. Billy Husso. Oh boy.
Yeah, it did get auto picked.
Yeah, that's not good.
He's exceeding active player maximum. That would be a new one on me.
That's very weird.
All right, we're back to you, Josh.
All right, man. I'm going to go with my boy. I wrote about him in my first 0G to Victory article. I'm going to go with... Whoa, I got the same message. That's weird. Okay.
Interesting.
Not letting me pick. Cause your team to have an illegal roster.
Oh, maybe it's a problem with the settings. Maybe I set it up wrong and everybody's going to have terrible
picks. Oh, you know what?
It's move an active player
to your bench. Okay, well, it's too late now. I picked Carter Hart, so...
This is funny because now all my 0G goalies are going to go off.
It's going to auto-pick for everybody.
It's just conspiring against me right now.
They're on Jeremy Swayman. You're going to have no goalie left.
It's probably honestly a Fantrax setting that I overlooked when I was making the mock draft up, and it's just gonna conspire against me
Oh, that's
in the
hilarious.
14th round. I'm not gonna be able to get any goalies that are worth a damn.
That's so funny. Apparently, yeah, Matthias is saying if you move an active player to your bench, it'll be okay. I did notice that when I picked Owen Power, he went straight to my bench, so I'm not sure if that has something to do with it, even though I had an open D spot, but oh well, it is what it is.
I'm gonna try.
I
I'm
guess
preemptively
we'll
moving
try that.
guys from all of my positions to the bench, so it doesn't happen to me. We will just have bench spots everywhere. So after, yeah, so we end up with a little bit of a goalie run there, kind of enforced goalie run, I guess. Billy Huso, Carter Hart, Jeremy Swayman, and then we go Andre Kuzmenko. That's a good pick in the 14th, like that. Seth Jarvis, love that. Tanner Janot, good pick, and Sam Bennett, love that. Sam Bennett has been honestly at the top of my queue for a long time, but with already having two center onlys, I just couldn't stomach a
That's
third.
tough.
Honestly, at this point, I shouldn't take Troy Terry here, but I mean, he's gonna score points. He's on Anaheim, which is obviously all those off nights. I already have Trevor Ziegress, so I get the stack there. I'm already fading goalies this far. I may as well fade them a little bit further here. Really, Jeremy Swayman was who I was hoping would make it back to me there because I think he has the most upside of any of these guys left. So if Swayman had made it back to me there, I probably would have taken him. But being as it turned out, I'll go for Troy Terry in the 14th round, which is just total disrespect. If we're being honest, Matthew Barzal, Matty Beniers, and then Michael Bunting. Michael Bunting is playing on the top power play in John Tavares' absence.
That's huge.
Which is something I wrote about as well. One of these guys that you call it like contingent upside, I guess. Like you have what they're projected for, but if they're next in line for promotion, kind of the same thing you would say, I guess, about Arturi Lehkonen with Landeskog being out. Lehkonen moves up into that top line role and top power play we're seeing right now. Francouz goes off 15-1. Kalen Addison, who's been taking a turn on the top power play in Minnesota, goes off 15-2. Ricard Raquel goes off 15-3, and it's back to me to take my absolutely all-star caliber goaltenders here. I'm going to go with Vitek Vanacek, who I did draft in Cacuffle as well. I think he gets first crack at the starter job in New Jersey. They paid him like it, so we'll bet on that, and we'll see where it goes. I'm honestly not expecting great things, but I'm basically willing to take anybody who's going to get a crack at a starting job at this point in the draft.
And Jared Spurgeon goes after you. Man. I want to take one more D, but the crop is just so bad. I don't really know
who's at the top of your D list right now.
The top of my
Jacob Slavin.
The top of my D list is Vince Dunn, which I think is a reasonable pick. Like if he falls to me, I'll probably take him. But I'm not super thrilled about him either. Ryan Pollock is also up there. He gets tons of blocks.
Not going to get my highest rated at this point.
Yeah, doesn't have a lot of. He's not going to get a lot of power play time now that Noah Dobson has solidified himself there. But when he did have it a couple years ago, he was a monster, but not quite as valuable offensively anymore. But if he stays healthy this year, though, like last year, a lot of people slept on him because he was hurt at the start of the year, but he ended up being huge for me in a couple of my leagues. Yep. I don't know. I feel like I'm talking myself into Ryan Pollock now, actually.
Yeah, my next guy after Pollock would be Matthew Dumba, which is an interesting one. I didn't honestly think that my projections would like Dumba that much, but for this group of settings, I guess he kind of fills that pretty well. Not exceptionally well, but pretty well. He hits and he shoots and he blocks enough that he fills the categories well and gives him that floor, and then you hope that he works his way into at least enough 5v5 scoring, if not a ton of power play scoring. And he is actually a pretty good goal scoring defenseman. which obviously goals worth more than assists in pretty much
Hmm.
every league. So Arturi Lekkinen goes off 5'8".
Yeah,
I missed Nico Hischier at 15.7. Lekkinen 15.8. Nugent Hopkins 15.9, and we're back
that's
to
a
you.
great pick. Nugent Hopkins in the
For
15th
sure.
round. I think I'm actually gonna. Hmm. No, I'm gonna go with a D. I'm gonna go Ryan Pollock. I kind of talked myself into that. And we're
Solid.
gonna and now I'm probably gonna go center with my last pick because I think I only have two centers. Uh, and yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Oh, Nick Schmaltz was the guy I was gonna take actually. So that's not great. He's off the
Cancel
board.
that.
Nick Schmaltz is a great pick, I think. Especially Arizona has the second most off nights in the league. So
Yep.
even though they're gonna be just dog shit, him and Clayton Keller will probably put up some points. So he's another guy that I think I got him in like a cupful in one of the last rounds. So I like him a lot.
For sure. Yeah, I like the Schmaltz pick late there. We've got now Matthew Dumba and Jakub Vrana going off at the turn to Nimmer. Really like Jakub Vrana there. Obviously, I think at this point, it's a bit more drafting at floor rather than at ceiling, which is kind of where Vrana's been, just because he's been such a elite level, really 5v5 scorer for so long. And then he's never convinced a coach to play him at a high enough level to really
Yeah, it's
convert
crazy.
all that potential into fantasy goodness. So when you're getting him in the 16th, well worth that shot that this is finally the year uh, he works his way onto like a top power play and top line level deployment and turns in like a 40 goal year or something.
So
Love that there.
I went with Logan Couture with my last pick, basically to simulate what I would actually do in a real draft because San Jose has 4 games in the first week. First
Mhm.
week is actually really weird. I think we'll probably touch on this at some point. I just was looking at the schedule and there's not a lot of games in that
Yeah.
first week. It's crazy. There's less than half of the league play 3 or more games. There's even a couple. I think Winnipeg and one other team only have one, and there's no Sunday games on that first weekend,
Hmm.
so it's a bit of a weird first week. So if you don't, I know in the patron league, the way that I picked, I have a lot of guys that are not playing a lot of games next week, so I'm in a bit of trouble for week one.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to go overboard with week one, but it is always nice to come out of week one with a W and um, feel confident about your team and the season and not feel panicked from week one. So if you can do that, it's nice. After your Couture pick, we get Damon Severson, Jakub Voracek, Andrew Mangiapane. I do like Mangiapane. He doesn't shoot a lot. He's more of a efficiency
Yeah.
guy than a volume guy. So in a scoring system like this, I mean, in the 16th round, that's totally fine value for a guy who's probably gonna flirt with 30 goals. Keandre Miller, that's an interesting pick in this. I mean, in the 16th round, why not? But
Yeah,
um,
some people are pretty high on him. I mean, I've watched a little bit of preseason highlights, and he's been jumping up in the rush a lot. I don't know if that's just because it's preseason or if he's trying to expand his game a bit, but he's looks like he's pushing the pace offensively. So I don't
yeah,
know. Maybe there's a
yeah,
breakout coming.
there could be. I like Miller a lot as a defenseman. I worry about the upside with Fox obviously locked into power
Yeah,
play one, and
yeah.
then Truba also there. Just wonder if that limits his power play potential throughout the season. Comes back to me here for my last pick and my second goalie. I'm going to take Jonathan Quick. Cal Peterson has been banged up. I forget the actual injury. Let's see if Fantrax has an update for us on what that injury actually is. Apparently he got back on the ice today for practice. So maybe he's coming back, but I think Jonathan Quick at the end of last year kind of played himself back into a 1A role at the least, and I think LA is going to be a wagon
Yeah, buddy.
So I don't know about that, but I think Quick will get a few starts at the gate, and that's really all I'm looking for out of my goalies in the 16th round. So Logan Thompson goes 16-10, Ivan Provorov 16-11, and Mr. Irrelevant with the last pick will be Newcomb here to finish us off.
I'm
Let's
gonna
see what
guess
he
he's
goes with.
going goalie because his two goalies are Forsberg and Francis. Oh, he did not. He went Mike Matheson. So
Michael
you want to do it?
Matheson.
Let's do a little zero G exercise here. So I'm looking at the goalies that are left that did not get picked. We've got according to my rankings here, we got Jake Allen, who's going to be a volume starter in Montreal. They're not going to be good, but in this format, if you make saves, you're gonna get points.
Yep.
So another guy, Philip Grubauer, he was who I tried to pick. So I think he's probably gonna have a bounce back year. I wrote about that in my article. Carl Vamelka is another guy I wrote about. Same situation. Arizona's going to be dog shit, but they're going to get destroyed in terms of shots, which means he's going to make a lot of saves. So he's totally reasonable to pick up. James Reimer is another guy that's still here. I don't know. There's a number. Ilya Samsonov is still available. He may take the starter's job at some point. Linus Allmark's another guy in that same situation. Spencer Knight, Alex Nedeljkovic. A lot of options here, guys. I don't like now. I'm kind of feeling like I should have faded goalies a little bit harder.
Yeah, I think there's lots of these guys, and we all know that there'll be more that emerge throughout the season. Last year, like for example, my Cacuffle team, which was my most successful team of the year, I took Frederick Anderson, but I traded him almost immediately for Mark Scheifele. I took Anderson in like the double-digit rounds last year in Cacuffle, and I traded him for Mark Scheifele when Scheifele started slow and Anderson was hot. And that worked out beautifully for me, basically. And I just rode Vanacek and Quick, actually, were two of the goalies that I played a lot. Reimer, and then picked up Huso for the stretch run, and he took me home. So there's definitely lots of ways to play it, and you should be, honestly, on the lookout for these guys. Somebody in your league is going to get these 0G goalies, and it's going to be a massive advantage for them. So it may as well be you. You may as well leave yourself room on your in your lineup to get those guys in when they may emerge. So that's the way we like to play it. Do you have any favorites among these teams? Any that you want to talk trash about?
I'd have to take
Josh?
it. Oh man, I'd have to take a look. I
I
think
like the. Yeah, go
yeah, you
ahead.
go for it. You go for it.
All right. I mean, I like any of the teams, obviously, that faded goalie a bit. I like the swings on the unknown. So I've talked about this before in podcasts and articles and everything, but really this is a game where upside helps more than downside hurts, except for maybe the first 3 or 4 rounds of your draft. So I love taking the swing. Like Evil Empire got Gabe Landeskog in the 7th round, and honestly, that's probably just an oversight. Like I should have taken Gabe Landeskog before it got to that, because regardless, like almost regardless of where he comes back, he's going to smash that level of ADP for what he's going to do for your lineup when he is healthy. And it's not like, I say this every time about injuries, but it's not like when he is injured that you're not going to be able to replace him in your lineup. You're going to have somebody else in there. We can talk about who's still available right now out there to just pick up and paste in for a bit. Braden Shen is out there, Victor Arvidsson, Alex Killorn, Connor Garland, Jamie Benn, Anders Lee. There's lots of guys who will provide you with a little bit of production right now to get you through until Landeskog gets back. And then when he does get back, you're just reaping the benefits of having taken plenty of stars ahead of him and then adding him to your core later on in the draft. So I love taking those swings. That's why I got McAvoy at 7-4, like I mentioned earlier. I love taking those swings on guys when you can get them at a good value, because when they do get into your lineup, they're like legitimate matchup swinging level players and game changing players for your lineup. So love any of the teams that took that approach. You got anything with one of these teams?
Yeah, I'm looking. The one that catches my eye is Kenny. Um, taking some swings, like you said. I think Cole Caulfield in round 9 is a really nice pick. I think Caulfield's going to have an awesome year. I wouldn't be surprised if he came out and scored 40 goals this year. I would not be surprised whatsoever. Nichushkin in the 12th round. That's a really nice pick as well. And then with his 14th and 15th picks, we talked about Kalen Addison, but also Matty Beniers. I think that's a really nice spot for Matty Beniers in the 4th round. He's going to get all the time on ice this year. I mean, Seattle rolled lines last year, but he's going to get tons of opportunity in terms of what rookies typically get.
For sure.
I think, and Seattle's offensive situation is just better this year, man. Like I don't know why I'm pretty high on Seattle this year. Like I said on the last pod, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to compete more than they did last year.
Yep. No, I like that for sure. I guess in terms of my favorite late round sleepers or values or whatever you want to call them, I do like Swayman in the 14th because I do think he has the potential to be like a top 10 goalie in this format if everything breaks his way. Honestly, I could be convinced that Linus Ullmark has that potential as well. But I think Swayman gets first crack at it. Yeah, that's for sure the reason that Swayman is going down here, but that's also the kind of uncertainty that you want to embrace later in your drafts because that uncertainty is what's pushing them down. It's not the talent of Jeremy Swayman that most people are concerned about. It's the situation. And so when you bet on talent with those late picks, like if you get one big hit out of your picks 12th round on or something like that, if you get one big hit out of that, you're happy. If you get two big hits out of that, you're laughing. So you want to take guys in these later rounds who have the upside to really outproduce where you're taking them. So Swayman fits into that for me. I like Kuzmenko. It seems like he's been getting some top power play run in Vancouver.
Yeah, with Besser out. I think
Besser
he's taken his spot.
Yeah, so I'm definitely open to him starting hot at the very least, and definitely worth a 14th round pickup. Seth Jarvis on the top line, top power play in Carolina.
Yeah.
I've been all over Jarvis this offseason, as has pretty much everybody, to be honest. I can't claim that that's my take alone. Sam Bennett in the 14th, I alluded to it. Bennett had been at the top of my queue for a while, but just the way this draft shook out for me, getting Barkov and McKinnon in the first 2 rounds that I couldn't pass up, then it meant that I couldn't really afford to take on a third C only. So Bennett ended up being here.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Arturi Lehkonen in the 15th round to Dingle Dude, because I've been hard on Lehkonen in my drafts this year. I know you have too, and he's got that really, really nice deployment in Colorado right now, playing with Rantanen, and McKinnon doesn't really get much better than that. So, and I think he's going to flourish. He's a guy that just has never gotten opportunity, and he's finally getting it in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely love that. Yeah, in terms of the 0G teams, I guess I'll run through the 0G teams for a second. So you took Bobrovsky and Hart in the 10th and 14th. Obviously, Hart, you want it to be Grubauer, so we can kind of mentally replace that if we want. Yeah, I don't mind either of those picks. Bobrovsky's fine in the 10th for me as a starter for a really good team. And then any kind of volume starter that you're getting in the 14th or later, I'm happy with. So don't mind that at all. And then for myself, I took Vanacek and Quick in the 15th and 16th. I don't expect to outperform anybody at the goalie position for the first few weeks, but I do expect that by the second month or so of the season, I'll be rolling with a league average goaltending situation. And then I hope that throughout the year I pick up the next Husso or Forsberg or whoever it is, and I start to turn that into an actual advantage. Meanwhile, maintaining my skaters. Evil Empire went Merzlikins in the 11th and Logan Thompson in the 16th. Don't mind that at all. Merzlikins volume starter. Columbus could take a step as a team this year. They're very young. So I don't mind that at all. Merzlikins absolutely going to be a volume starter once again and has flashed like big time potential. Has gone on long stretches where he's been absolutely dominant. So I do think that there's potential for Merzlikins to be that kind of top 10 goalie that we talk about, who could absolutely be a league winner from this 11th round draft position. Kenneth went Marc-Andre Fleury in the 10th and John Gibson in the 13th, 2 volume goalies. Fleury, you expect to be successful in Minnesota, which is a good defensive team. Definitely love that. I don't think you're going to see Fleury at the 10-11 in a lot of drafts. But if you can get him there, then more power to you. And then Newcomb drafting Forsberg at the 12-12 and Francouz at the 15-1. I have been kind of telling people not to draft Francouz and Samsonov, basically what I view as the second half of those potential tandems in Toronto and Colorado, just because I think it's pretty clear to me that both Murray and Georgiev were brought in to be the starters, at least to start the season, that is. So I think you're just going to be waiting and waiting and waiting for Francouz or Samsonov to get their chance, and you're probably going to end up dropping them before you ever even really see what they're capable of. So I'm more of the mind where I'll take a volume guy and hope he hits, and then probably even if Francouz or Samsonov do hit and they do become like a volume guy there, they're going to be dropped before that even happens. It would take a lot in my mind. Like, they'd have to be absolutely lights out for multiple starts to start the year for them to that quickly unseat Murray and Georgiev respectively. So that's just how I've been playing those two net situations. But definitely like the Forsberg pick. Like I've been saying, drafted him in Cacuffle as well. I'm drafting a lot of him everywhere. It seems to be my take. Our take, I guess, that Forsberg is the goalie to own in Ottawa.
Yeah, could be a back-to-back 0G gem. Crazy.
Yeah. Anything else from these drafts that you want to touch on?
I don't think so, man. I'm pretty much drafted out at this point.
Yeah, we got a keeper league that we're starting up next week that will draft kind of just before the season gets started. That's going to be my last draft of the season. It's been fun getting through all our drafts and getting all this content out for everybody. But that's going to be all we've got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to the band there for supplying the music for the podcast. Be sure to check out their Spotify as well. And that's going to be it, folks. Much love.
Have a good one.